Good morning, students. In the previous videos, we have discussed in the kingdom of fools. One day, a guru and his disciple reached in the kingdom of fools. Now, in this video, a thief breaks into a rich merchant's house. This incident has been described. Now, the thief died because the wall of the house fell down, and his brother complained in the court, and the king heard the accused. He accused him of killing the thief, but the owner said that he was innocent. Now he said the bricklayer is responsible for that. The king asked the bricklayer if he had built the wall. He accused him of killing the thief, but the bricklayer said that all this is the fault of a dancing girl. The dancing girl said that the goldsmith was responsible. Today we will discuss from here. It was fallen on a poor burglar, thief, and killed him. You have killed an innocent man. You will have to be punished. You will have to be punished. You will be punished today because you have killed an innocent person. Now she said, I know. I know now why I was walking up and down the street. I had given some gold to the goldsmith to make jewelry for me. She said she had given to make some jewelry to the goldsmith. Because of that, I had to walk around the street. He made so many. He was a lazy scoundrel. Scoundrel, thief. He was a lazy scoundrel. Scoundrel means evil person. He made so many excuses, said he would give it now and he would give it then, and so on all day. He made me walk up and down to his house a dozen times. So she had to walk up and down in the street for so many times. That was when this bricklayer saw me. It is not my fault, my lord. It is the damned goldsmith's fault. Damned and abused. It is the fault of the goldsmith. Poor thing. She is absolutely right, thought the king. Now the king thought that she is saying rightly. She is absolutely right. Weighing the evidence, we have got the real culprit at last. Culprit, criminal. Ultimately, our work is to find out the real culprit, get the goldsmith wherever he is hiding at once. And now the king bailiffs means officers, searched for the goldsmith who was hiding in a corner of his shop. When he heard the accusation, blame against him, he had his own story to tell. Now they came into the court and he also started to tell their story. My lord, he said, I am a poor goldsmith. It's true, I made this dancer come many times to my door. I gave her excuses because I could not finish making her jewelry before I finished the rich merchant's order. Now she said that I have to make the jewelry of the rich merchant first, so I could not make her jewelry first. They had a wedding coming and they wouldn't wait. Because there is a wedding, so I could not make the jewelry of the dancing girl. You know how impatient rich men are. You know very well that the rich persons are very impatient. Who is this rich merchant? Who kept you from finishing this poor woman's jewelry? Made her walk up and down? Which distracted this bricklayer? which made a mesh of his wall, which was fallen on an innocent man and killed him? Can you name this? Now the king asked, tell me the name of that rich person, because of that an innocent man killed. Can you give his name? The goldsmith named the merchant, and he was none other than the original owner of the house. Do underline, students? Now goldsmith told him the name of that merchant, and that was the original owner of the house whose wall had fallen, and he was the same merchant. Now justice had come full circle, thought the king, back to the merchant, when he was rudely summoned back to the court. Summoned, called. Now he was called to the court. He arrived crying, it wasn't me, but my father who ordered the jewelry. He is dead. I am innocent. Now he said that it is my father who ordered for the jewelry, but now he is died, and I am an innocent. But the king consulted his minister, ruled decisively, deciding, it is true your father is the true murderer. He is dead, but somebody must be punished in his place. You have inherited everything from that criminal father of yours, his riches as well as his sins. I knew at once, even when I first set eyes on you, that you were at the root of this horrible crime. You must die. Now the king said that you are the real culprit, because you had inherited everything from your criminal father, whether it is riches or it may be his sins. So you would be punished. And he ordered a new stake, strong wood or metal stick, to be made ready for the execution. As the servant sharpened the stake and got it ready for the final impaling hanging of the criminal. It occurred to the minister that the rich merchant was somehow too thin to be properly executed on the stake. Now the stake was ready, but he was very thin, and he is not fit in that stake. Occurred to that the rich merchant was somehow too thin to be properly executed on the stake. He appeared to the king's common sense. The king too worried about him. Now the king worried, what should be done? What shall we do? He said, when suddenly it struck him that all they needed to do was to find a man fat enough to fit the stake. Now they thought that a person would be found who fit in this stake, so that he could be punished. The servants were immediately sent all over the town looking for a man who would fit the stake, and their eyes fell on the disciple who had fattened himself for months on bananas and rice and wheat and ghee. Now when they were searching the person, their eyes fall on the disciple who became fat and who was eating bananas, rice, wheat and ghee, etc. What have I done wrong? I am innocent. I am a sannyasi. Now when they got him, he said, what is my fault? That may be true, but it is the royal decree. Decree means order, that we should find a man fat enough to fit the stake. They said, and carried him to the place of execution. He remembered his wise Guru's word, this is a city of fools, you don't know what they will do happen. Now he was caught and brought into the palace for the stake, and now he remembered his word that this is the city of fools. Nobody could say what would happen next. While he was waiting for death, he prayed to his Guru in his heart, asking him to hear his cry wherever he was. The Guru saw everything in a vision. He had magic powers. He could see far. He could see the future. He could see the present and the past. Now his Guru had a power to see present, past and future. He could see the present and the past. He arrived at once to save his disciple who had got himself into such a scrape through love of food. Because of food he was there and he saw everything there. As soon as he arrived, he scolded the disciple and told him something in a whisper in a slow voice. Then he went to the king and addressed him, O wisest of kings, who is greater, the Guru or the disciple? Who is greater, the Guru and his disciple? Of course, the Guru. No doubt about it. Why do you ask? Then put me the stake first. Now he said that I will give me that stake. When the disciple heard this, he understood and began to clamor to make a noise. Me first. You brought me here first. Put me to death first, not him. Now the disciple said that it's for me. The Guru and the disciple now got into a fight about who should go first. The king was puzzled by their behavior. Now both started to fight and the king became confused. He asked the Guru, why do you want to die? We chose him because we needed a fat man for the stake. You shouldn't ask me such question. Put me to death first. Now the Guru answered that I want to die. Don't ask me such questions. Why? There is some mystery here. As a wise man, you must make me understand. Will you promise to put me to death if I tell you? Asked the Guru. The king gave him his solemn word. And now, will you promise to put me death if I tell you? Guru said, I would tell you what is the reason of death, but you promise me that you to put me to death. The king gave him his solemn word. Solemn, serious. The Guru took him aside out of the servant earshot and whispered, do you know why we want to die right now, the two of us? We have been all over the world, but we have never found a city like this or a king like you. That stake is the stake of the God of justice. Do underline? That is the stake of God of justice. It's new. It has never had a criminal on it. This stake is new. Whosoever died on it first, do underline, will be reborn as the king of his country, and whosoever goes next will be the future minister of the country. We are sick of our ascetic life, ascetic saint life. It would be nice to enjoy ourselves as king and minister for a while. Now he said that in the next word we want to enjoy as a king and the minister. Now keep your word. Now you have to follow the promise which you made us, my lord, and put us to death. My first remember. The king was now thrown into deep thought. He didn't want to lose the kingdom to someone else in the next round of life. He needed time, so he ordered the execution postponed to the next day. Now he started to think and he ordered to postpone this execution, talked in secret with his minister. It is not right for us to give over the kingdom to others in the next life. Let us go. Do underline on the stake ourselves, and we will be reborn, born again as king and minister again. Now he decided that they would go on the stake, and in the next birth they would become the king and the minister. Holy men do not tell lies. Holy men always speak truth, he said. And the minister agreed. So he told the executioner, we will send the criminals tonight. When the first man comes to you, put him dead first, then do the same to the second. Those are my orders. We will send the criminals tonight. When the first man comes to you, put him to death first. Then do the same to the second. Those are my, don't make any mistake. That night the king and minister went secretly to the prison, released the guru and disciple, disguised themselves as the do. दोनों की उसमें भेष बना लिया. Disguised themselves as the two, and has arranged beforehand with loyal servants, were taken to the stake and promptly executed. Now, when the body were taken over to be thrown to crows and vultures, the people panicked, afraid. They saw before them the dead bodies of the king and minister. The city was in confusion because they were thinking that the guru and disciple was given punishment. All night they mourned, weep in sorrow, and discussed the future of the kingdom. And now they were thinking about the kingdom. Some people suddenly thought of the guru and the disciple and caught up with them, and they were preparing to leave town unnoticed. They wanted to leave the city. We people need a king and a minister, said someone. Now someone said that they need a king and ministers. Other people also agreed. They begged guru and the disciple. They requested guru and disciple to become their king and their minister. It did not make many arguments to persuade the disciple, but it took longer to persuade the guru. It takes a lot of time to persuade the guru. They finally agreed to rule the kingdom of the foolish king and the silly minister on the condition that they could change all the old laws. उन्होंने कहा, if they you would give them the permission to change all the old laws, then they could become the king and the minister. From then on, night would again be night and day would again be day, as you have read in the starting, and you could get nothing for a dodo. It became like any other place. So students, I think you are able to understand the story. This is a Kannada folk tale from A.K. Ramanujan's Folk Tales from India. So students, you are able to understand. Thank you students.